Here we are, October 2024, and we're at the Khlong Land Waterfall in the Khlong Land National Park. And this is in the Kamphaeng Phet province in central Thailand. And the weather is rather pleasant today, but as in Thailand, a pleasant day is also a hot day, so rather warm. And this is rather an extensive layout here for the waterfall. Of course, they charge an entry fee for you to come into the park, and there's considerable parking, and today just about all the parking places were occupied. Here we're walking up the path towards the waterfall. And here we're going to take and walk up a lookout that's going to allow us to view the waterfall from a considerable distance. Now, here in this area, Thailand, obviously we get a lot of rain, but it doesn't seem to have rained recently. So the waterfall, I would say, has got kind of a medium rate of water coming over the falls, and as we look, you can see that they've done a lot of work to provide access there to the waterfall, and it's quite a popular park to visit. This is interesting, an ancient vine that's going up to a tree, been there for a long time. As you can see, some of these trees are probably towards 100 years old and very big. And here we see the water flowing. Now this river isn't a tremendous volume of water, but it's apparently good and constant, and that's what you want for a good waterfall. The water is certainly clear and clean. Now we can see from the area that there's a lot of tourist traffic visiting the waterfall. I noticed that the area is kept very clean. I don't see any trash or debris of any kind anywhere. Now off in the distance, the dresses and the flowers there at the base of that tree, that's kind of a temple tree or a spirit tree. That's why you saw that. There we go. Yeah, sometimes you see that here in Thailand. Nobody will bother it, but there is a dress there and some articles of fabric. And there we see it up close. This is actually a fairly common sight, though, in Thailand to see a tree adorned like that. And here we go. We're getting up closer to the base of the waterfall. That actually looks like the base of a petrified tree. And here we see people that are spending probably a good part of the day. And actually the park closes at 4:30 in the afternoon. And remember, this is Thailand, so every day of the year around 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., it's dark. And of course every morning at 6 a.m. it's light. So obviously at 4:30 p.m. they want to close the park. Here is a temple. Fanta seems to be one of the favorite drinks to offer the deity that they're making an offering to. And here we go, we're getting closer. Here we actually see the fall. Now, there's a considerable water mist there that's coming from the fall, and it has an extreme cooling effect. So what happens is the air is much cooler here standing at the base of the fall than it is there for a considerable distance from it. So it's quite refreshing, actually. And there we see that water cascading down. And like we mentioned, for it to be a good waterfall, the water needs to be constant, consistent, always flowing at the same rate. And that's one of the interesting characteristics of this waterfall. It seems to be flowing at pretty much the same rate, and you can see how clear the water is. And that water is actually coming from a national park, so it has very little agricultural activity around it, so the water is nice and clean and clear. And we see quite a few visitors. There we see the water. Now what's interesting, there are fish in this water, and they seem to be very tame. They don't seem to be very afraid of people. In fact, actually observing people can actually easily catch the fish, and obviously they're small and then they're released, but they seem to be very used to people. Rather interesting there. Here they're talking about please don't litter there at the falls, and they have a nice display talking about a lot of the different plastics and aluminum cans. They, especially glass not deteriorating, but the plastic and aluminum cans will be there for many, many years. But what happens is that you see I didn't see any trash or anything at all, and I believe they probably are picking it up too if there's something there. Here we're at the visitor center. So they're talking about, there we see kind of the province there in Thailand, pointing out the different sections. Here we see a cafe there.